What's up, whoever just popped in? Taco truck lover, what's up? Man, my eyes are not doing that good reading this small text I got going on here. Let me. So, anyway, I'm just sitting out here at this receiver. I'm not sure if I said receiver, shipper in the title of this, but either way, been waiting here for 5 hours. Drove here like I didn't have no sense this morning because I was afraid to be late. And still not a peep from these people. I could have already gone to the store, got some stuff to eat, everything like that, but I keep thinking these people are going to call. And trucks are just stacking up over here like piles of wood or something. I did just get my next proposed load. Why are these comments not? Okay. Oh, so you just want to be cracking on me. Anyway, got my next proposed load, supposedly from Erie, Pennsylvania to Tracy, California, except I will be dropping it in the Denver drop yard. What's up, El Nino? I think that's it. Man, I cannot read this stuff. Forgive my eyes, man. But, yeah, this weather is just crazy out here. I mean, picking up in Pennsylvania, taking it even to Denver, if I'm hitting the 80 the entire way, it's going to be some pain. So I was speaking to another driver out here that comes out to this place a lot, and he said he's had to wait over 24 hours before. Now I looked at the detention on this load and what it pays. The first 3 hours are free, then it's $50 for every half hour after that, maxing out at $350. So at some point, see, it's dumb stuff like that that irritates me, because if that's the case, where it tops off at $350, what's the motivation for them to get you in once you've kind of hit that max? Why wouldn't you just pull in the people that you don't have to pay attention to? Well, hopefully I get home. What's up, Everyday Barbecue? Shoot, I was just dealing with your shit yesterday, driving through all that Chicago stuff. Man, rush hour traffic and snow hit at the same time. That was not a good drive. And why do these comments keep disappearing? Yeah. I need to get a phone holder, but I wasn't planning on using my phone for stuff like this, but I'm just sitting here bored, ain't nothing to do. Yeah, that Chi-Town weather was really jacking me up yesterday. And then you guys can't drive when the weather gets a little bad out there. Yeah, so got to be headed out to my least favorite state for this pickup tomorrow, if I get out of here. Pennsylvania is not where I want to be. Sorry if I'm figuring this out as I go. I'm usually doing this from a computer. But Is this skipping or anything like that? Yeah, I don't know. Some of them suburbs in Chicago, I was just up there in whatever that city's called, West Chicago or something. Looked at it, looked at some real estate online. Looked like a nice place for the money. Man, I'm not sure if these comments are. Alright, anyway. Sorry it's taking me a while to figure this stuff out. Like I said, usually I'm doing this on the computer, but I just want to get in this door so I can unload this shit, because you know what, I'll probably just be staying right here tonight. Go over there, hit up a store right quick, give me some provisions, stuff like that, and relax till tomorrow morning. No, nobody else has been on these egg rolls. If anybody is seeing this guy comment, Smug Monkey, we were in the Marines together back in the days. Had some eventful times together. But I tell you what, it was nice to get a shower the other day. Boy, I had been on a roll. You know, it had been a grip. You know, one day I was like, like the first day I was like, I don't need it. Then the second day I stopped at like a TA where I couldn't get a free shower. So I was like, I'll get one tomorrow. Then I got held up at a shipper, so I stayed there, or a receiver, stayed there overnight. Then I ended up having to stay at some other place the other night. So that was like a good 4 days right there. Then I finally stopped at a TA and I just had to get it in. I had to pay for that shower. What's up, Maurice? I'm about to be headed out. You're in Pennsylvania, right? I think I'm about to be going out there tomorrow if I can get unloaded out here anytime today. Yeah, no, I didn't want it to. I was going to do anything where it wasn't going to take a week. But man, sometimes, you get in those areas where you can't get in those truck stops, or your hours are messed up. Like I ended up picking up that heavy ass beer load out of Columbus, Ohio. And by the time I picked it up, I knew all the truck stops were going to be full. So I ended up just going over to a receiver's place and shut it down over there. So you got to keep it rustic, though. I went a lot longer than 4 days without showering in the Marines, for sure. Oh, I'm not taking no flour loads. Flour loads are not in my future. That is never going to happen again. But anyway, I kind of had a couple different rants and stuff, but still thinking Prime is all that. Happy I made that decision to go with Prime. In case anybody is questioning my thoughts on that. It's not necessarily Prime. When I'm having some of these little rants, it's the trucking industry is so 70s. What's up, Shane? The fact that we're still walking around with paper bills in itself just lets you know that trucking is going to fight coming into the modern day tooth and nail. And people are worried about driverless trucks. That shit ain't ever going to happen. Not while we're still walking around with paper bills, and it's just not going to happen. at least in my lifetime or my driving career time span. But some people were asking about leasing. You know, just came off of probably this is my best week, or whatever this next paycheck should be. And had I decided to not go home, this next week could have even been even better, because that load that's leaving Pennsylvania that I'm gonna have to split going out to California, that was paying like a lot of money, but I'm end up having to drop it in Denver, splitting that. No, as far as the lease goes, I don't have a problem with it. I can see how people can get in problems with it if they don't have financial discipline, stuff like that, or if they take the money that they make and don't set a certain percentage aside. You know, one tow bill, if you're not ready for that, that could set you back quite a bit of money. Just anything, any little thing that comes up. There was a week where, well, I think my lowest week so far has been total like just under $1,000 or something like that. But if you're spending everything you get, anyway, lease is great. I just couldn't deal with no 4 days off a month doing the company thing. Plus, I mentioned it before. I think that the lease fleet managers talk a little bit more. They're not as demanding when they want something done. It seems like they speak with a different tone, at least from what I've been hearing, from what people have been saying. But I'm not 100% sure on that either. I only know my fleet manager and what people tell me. But I'm thinking the lease is I'm liking the lease so much. I'm thinking about doing that lease purchase. So I'll be able to order a truck in a few weeks or something like that. That's when I'll take a look and see if the lease purchase is the way to go. Not because I want to, not because I care to own a truck, but if I'm going to be paying a certain amount a week on a truck, when it's all said and done, I wouldn't mind having something to sell or something like that. Super singles, I've never driven them without the super singles, so I wouldn't know. It seems like in the snow, dual tires should work better, but I don't know. I didn't have any issues with traction on the snow and ice and stuff like that. I did say something stupid to my fleet manager about when he gave me this load to California that I was supposed to be dropping in Denver. I told him he was kind of worried about it. If I couldn't get it there in time, it could create some problems. And I was thinking, or I told him, if for some reason something becomes a problem, I'll just run it all the way out to California, which is about the stupidest thing I could have said. But I'm going to just run the shit out of it, weather permitting. What's up, Elton? He's way across the pond. But they just been throwing so much heavy weight on. These last couple loads have been, one was like right under 45,000 pounds. I scaled out on it, and I was within a couple 100 pounds on both axles. If I was running duals on it, I probably would have went over on the weight. Now I would have got an APU exemption, but that's cutting it a little too close. And I don't want to be in there explaining no APU exemption to a DOT officer. Man, it is cold in here. Now, I don't know anything about sleep apnea or what that, what the procedure is or anything on that. Zach, as far as going to Denver, right now, currently my plans have been sitting at, I'll take 7 to 8 days off for every 30 days. Once I build up my emergency fund a little bit higher, I have about $3,500 in there. Once I get closer to, $8,000-$10,000, then I'll probably be stretching that out a little bit more. I might do 35 days for like 11 days or something. I'm not sure. I haven't really worked that out yet. I have a Peterbilt, and after driving this Peterbilt, I'm not sure I could go back to the Freightliner. What's up, West New Barbecue? Man, I haven't really been having much time to do anything. One thing I didn't expect when I got into trucking was this shit never ends. You like with your regular job, you're like, okay, well, I worked these 5 days, then I got 2 days off, and I kind of thought it would be kind of similar to that when I got into trucking, but this is just like you're living life 10 hours at a time. There's no like breaks unless you tell them, hold up on a load or it happens on accident or something like that, but it's just not. Yeah, that's one of the hardest things about trucking. But the Peterbilt, man, I wrote down all kinds of stuff about why I like the Peterbilt more than the Freightliner. I just never got around to it because I was actually gonna film some of this stuff, but I'm not no vlogger. To me, I feel stupid when I'm outside filming and everybody's looking at me. Oh shit, let's see if this is the receiver. Hell no. Damn. So I guess I better get comfortable here. As far as the Peterbilt though, and I wish I could reach my thing. As far as my notes, as far as the Peterbilt goes, the fact that it's heavier, rides so much better. It's almost a safety thing, to be honest with you. I remember driving that Freightliner, and sometimes I'd hit a pothole and it would bounce me so hard, it almost bounced me into a barrier one time, and you just don't have that in this Peterbilt. What's up, OTC? You just don't have that in the Peterbilt. The dash kind of looks more like a car as opposed to kind of just all plasticky and truckish. This little divider back here is kind of a thicker vinyl with a magnet on it, so you don't have to be worried about no Velcro and all that stuff. The Jake brake is just, man, the Jake brake alone is just worth driving a Peterbilt. You just turn on the Jake brake and then leave it on all day, and it'll just turn on and off. You don't have to keep messing with it and doing all that stuff. It's more of a intuitive Jake brake as well. So, and so is the braking system. So if you're going down a hill and you brake, it's going to hold that gear until you step back on the gas pedal. Whereas in a Freightliner, it's just going to keep running, or it's going to keep, going up in gear. So I like that about this Peterbilt. I don't like the storage up front. Now, it's not that big of a deal, but, permit books and stuff like that, there's really no good way to put that or any paperwork that you have in this. So that's one thing I don't like about the Peterbilt. I do like the fact, I didn't think I was going to like it when I first started driving it, but it's about 3 feet longer than a Freightliner. So it actually almost is easier to back, because once you kind of start kind of turning your wheel and getting your trailer going that direction, you can see it a little bit better. Plus, it actually has a catwalk that you can actually, there's room back there. I don't have a TV, none of that stuff. Last thing I need to be doing is watching a bunch of TV, falling asleep. I just try to catch up on a little bit of YouTube, see what's going on in the trucking world, stuff like that. But I would never put a TV back here. I'm trying to think. Oh, the headlights, way better. I don't know if somebody put in LED lights. I am a sports fan, but or should I say, I'm an Oakland Raider fan. I used to like basketball when they used to play defense back in like the late 80s to like mid 90s. Or should I say mid 80s, mid 90s. Back when it was, the Detroit Pistons, New York Knicks, all them D'ing up. But this is just... Is there any... Man, this thing keeps cutting off and it's cold as hell in here. Anyway, it's not turning back on. Anyway, is there anybody that hasn't gone to truck school or doesn't have their CDL yet that's thinking about doing it? But anyway, I wasn't going to be on here too long. Last night when I was driving, man, that weather was so bad that at some point even the super truckers got off the highway. What's up, Diane? I was just down in your neck of the woods a little while ago. But yeah, the super truckers were getting off the highway, so I missed rest area I wanted to get off at. It was like a service plaza, and the next one I got to started getting kind of packed, and I had to park in this overflow area, and it was kind of a steep upgrade to get up. Well, not steep under normal conditions, but had to throw it in 4x4 to get up there. So got up there, but people were struggling getting up there. If you didn't have good tires last night and you were trying to get up there, you were having some problems. Yeah, I'm not driving right now, Elton. I'm just sitting here waiting for somebody to call me to unload me. This little raggedy ass receiver that I'm at, you can't even sit on their property because they don't have room. So I'm at this little strip mall waiting for him to call me. Then I'm supposed to drive over there. My appointment was at 11 o'clock this morning. It's now 5 o'clock, so that's 6 hours that I've been just waiting here, waiting for him to call me. And I'm not even the first one that got here. There's trucks that have been here longer than me. And I was talking to somebody else that's familiar with this place. It says that he's had to wait here over 24 hours before. Okay, so there's two apps that I looked at. One was called CDL Prep and one was DMV Genie, and then you could just download those to your phone, and then it's like a quiz type thing. So those were the two of the ways, and then just reading. Actually, you know what? There's if you just look up on YouTube, there's a guy that actually reads the questions word for word and then answers them. I forgot the name of the channel, but if you just type in DMV test or something like that, a video is going to come up, and it's just going to be it's not even a guy. It just has the question typed out, and then he reads the question, then he answers it. Oh shit, one of the funniest guys on YouTube, B Smooth, is in the house. see if this is these fools here. This is Lyle.
Thank you for choosing Visa and MasterCard services as your legal financial advisors. This is an...
Anyway, so, forgot what I was talking about. Anyway, yeah, that's a good place to learn. Now, if you want to learn about this trucking industry, be smooth, go to his channel, owner, operator, life, all that stuff. All right, man, get down the road. You know that if the app didn't have the right questions, it might be the state that you're in. That might be one of the things. And then the second thing might be that, yeah, if you maybe try out that YouTube channel that just basically reads out the questions and answers them. I mean, no matter what the test questions are, whether they're the same, the concepts are still going to be about the same. What's up, brown-eyed trucker? But if anybody just came in here, I know my man B Smooth was out, but I know he's not all about that lease life, but it's working for me. So far, everybody says that it's good. Well, he didn't say that, but everybody's telling me that it's gonna fall apart on me. So we're gonna have to wait and see about that one. All right, what do I listen to on the road? Oh, Be Smooth. You know what I listen to? I don't really listen to a lot of music when I'm driving. Normally what I'll do is, before I start driving, I'll queue up a bunch of YouTube videos or a lot of times it would be like about the Holocaust, or it could be about Watergate, or, you know, a lot of trucking YouTube channels. So I'll put them all on a playlist, and then just stuff I could listen to while I'm driving. So that's kind of what I listen to. Now, when I park, sometimes I might throw in a little bit of, you know, Eric B. and Rakim on you, or even a little bit of, you know, 9 Inch Nails. Shoot, I might even go Bee Gees on you. But I'm not usually listening to music when I'm driving. Now, if somebody's pissing me off, I might play some Public Enemy driving through the truck stop or something like that, but usually ain't listening to no music. BG Boys were all that. Don't have step on the BG Boys. All right, but anyway, here's if anybody's thinking about leasing or whatever. I know somebody brought this question up earlier. What you need to have if you're going to be thinking about leasing, first of all, I felt comfortable doing it just because of the situation I was in. I'm not telling anybody to go out and lease. As a matter of fact, I'm saying that unless you are disciplined, start off company, get that money together. If you're worried about it, then kind of go lease. But I felt comfortable going lease because I just don't have any debt. And then we have money coming in outside of our job, so I really wasn't worried about that. But you know, you can get in a situation in a lease where if you're not prepared for it, it can kind of take you down. And the reason that the money is such a big deal isn't necessarily, for me, isn't worrying about the expenses or having a bad paycheck or home time or things like that. It's having money in a lease allows you to turn down shit without really even worrying about it. Like somebody might take a load that may put them in a place they don't want to be because they need the money, or they might turn down a load that might pay well, but it doesn't hit like a certain pay period. It just gives you more flexibility. You're not stressing out about anything. You know, it just, that's the main reason I say to have a little bit of money behind you, not 100% for any issues that come up. You know what, if you're asking about company driver checks, I would check out that channel. All right, see you later, Elton. Trucking along with Kiersey's a company driver. She does, she's mentioned her paychecks. I tried to talk about my paychecks, but people were either trying to act like I was bragging, it wasn't even anything to brag about, or that it wasn't enough money, so I just decided to not do that. I'll vaguely go into it, but I'm not going to be doing a breakdown. I think this week coming up, I should be just under 6,000 for the week. So then you subtract out the fuel, tolls, all that stuff, and then the truck payment, and then that's going to be what I'm left with. Now, if anybody's been following my channel, last week I found a good price, and I'm going to call it gas. I get tired of calling it fuel. Found a good price on some gas right at payday, or payday cutoff. I didn't necessarily need to get it, but it was so cheap that I loaded up on fuel. So that's also going to make my fuel expense for this week a little bit less. The new tax laws, I spoke about that last year about it, and I'm surprised it just now came up. Trucker Scooby-Doo had mentioned that he just got screwed on his taxes. If he didn't get screwed last year, I don't know what magic his accountant was doing, because last year is when it hit me. I was in the mortgage business last year, and we were able to itemize a lot of stuff on our taxes. And last year was the first year that I wasn't able to itemize, and we were able to itemize a whole lot more in that business than even this business. So they took that away. So last year did I pay 30,000? No, that was the year before last year. I don't remember, but I wasn't able to itemize everything. It made it easier for taxes, but it cost a lot of money. So I didn't have to go in there with a bunch of receipts I never give them receipts anyway, but I didn't have to break everything down and take it in. So that was a major reason why I went lease as well. Because I have this, if I have this LLC, plus I have other income that's not taxed, and then I have a rental property that was bringing in some money. At the time I had two, so that was a lot of different write-offs that can't explain it. Some of these write-offs are write-offs where if I don't claim them in one area, I can claim them in another area, and trucking is one of those areas where if it's not able to be written off in trucking, it may be able to get written off in a different area. The road to good cooking, Josie, man. I haven't been through Vegas at all. I would like to be in Vegas because it's snowing. Here, let me just turn this around. So it's not horrible, but if I'm going to be leaving tonight with an empty trailer, going to Pennsylvania, it's probably not going to be the best drive, but let's... And that's just starting. But if B Smooth is still listening, man, I was just at that Meijer like 5 days ago. That was one of the reasons I couldn't take a shower. I stayed at that shipper, so that was another day. So anyway, for those of you guys that just came in, it took me a while to get to a shower. I think I was working close to about 5 days, not because I wanted to, but that place was one of the reasons why I ended up having to stretch it out a little bit. Pennsylvania is my worst state, and not necessarily I-80. When I first started driving, when I got with my first trainer, the first trip that I went on was through Pennsylvania, and it wasn't on I-80. It was on one of them little off-brand highways where it's like super up and down and everything. He hadn't told me how to use any engine brakes. He hadn't told me nothing, so I'm out there trying to wing it, and it got so stressful that I pulled over into like a couple rest areas and had to compose myself before I could keep going. What's it like outside the truck? You mean right now or just in general? Right now it looks like we're gonna be getting about Hold on a second. Is this the Million Mile Man? Is this the Million Mile Man?
My name Juice Fruit.
Hey, I'm live right now.
Oh man.
This is Willie,
What's up, bro?
the Million Mile Man. Go check out his YouTube channel. Nothing, man. I'm gonna give you a call back in a little bit. I'm still sitting my ass out here waiting. I mean, I'm not.
I'll be right here.
All right, man. Uh, anyway, so I had to compose myself. I almost quit trucking because I didn't know that. I thought it was always gonna be like that. You know what I'm saying? Like I thought that it was always gonna feel that hard, and really, I just didn't have the tools to handle the situation. Not that it was all that bad in itself, but I still don't like Pennsylvania. As far as being a trainer goes, you know, I need to learn what I mean. I would like to say that I would want to learn a little bit more. I'm just not sure how much, what those areas of growth would be in. To me, it seems like, you know, there's probably a certain period of time I would want to go by before I become a trainer. I do, you know, I made a commitment to train at least one person when that time comes. But I'm not sure it's going to be much more than that one person. One of the drawbacks to being a trainer for me, first of all, I wouldn't do it for the money. That would not be the reason I would do it. But one of the drawbacks for being a trainer or even going through the process is going through the process. You know, I don't want to go to no ACE 2 class. To me, you know, I think sometimes you could overthink shit. And I kind of listened in to one of them ACE 2 classes. There's my wife, Andrea. I kind of listened in on one of those ACE 2 classes, and there's just certain stuff that I'm just not going to be worried about. If they're telling me that you can get your cents per, you know, mile and all this stuff, you know, I mean, super low, like under 7 or whatever by driving 55 miles an hour, to me, I can assure you you're losing loads if you're driving 55 miles an hour. There's plenty of loads where I wouldn't have been able to pick up that load if I didn't have time left on my clock because I was driving 55, and I'm sure that prime drivers driving 65 miles an hour lose out on loads that some companies that are driving 75 miles aren't losing out on. So, you know, I don't need anybody to tell me that, you know, you're driving slow, you know, you get a little bit better fuel economy, but I've done it. I've tried driving 60, I drove 65, I drove 62, and what it came down to me, and somebody could tell me if they have different results, is weight, terrain, and you know, those are the two main things that seem to affect my fuel economy, and where you buy at. So I do use the Macro 27 to get the best fuel, but then I take it even a step further, and then I'll run fuel stops along the way, and if I see some cheap fuel, I'm going to hop on that as well. And that seems to be working, because if you look at my numbers in terms of the fleet and all that kind of stuff, I'm doing, I think I'm number 8 or something over the last 8 weeks or something like that. This last week looked a little rough because I did fuel up right before payoff or payday cutoff, so I overfueled for that trip. But I don't mind fueling up. You know, if I find it and it's good, I'm going to buy it. I'm going to load up on it. I'm not worried about, you know, it hitting a certain payday or, you know, anything like that. So, Andrea, I'm not sure I told you yet or not. If I can get out of here, what they're supposed to be doing is getting me a load out of somewhere in Pennsylvania that's supposed to be headed to California. Then I would drop it off in the Denver yard. If for some reason that load gets too backed up and they can't find anybody to take it, then I'll run that all the way to California and then put off my appointment and then take a little bit longer time off at home. So that's kind of how that's happening. And it's paying enough to where, shit, I should run that thing all the way out to California, but I'm not sure I want to mess with it. Well, if I still plan on being home as quick as it takes for me to get it from Pennsylvania to Denver, so I don't know how many miles that is off the top of my head, but I should be home at or before, because I would be dropping that load in the Denver yard, unless it gets behind for some reason or another. So I should be home even earlier than I said. Because it's not going to take me 5 days to go from Pennsylvania to Denver. Or however long. Anyway, if you see Andrea's life right there, that's my wife. She's the one that's holding it down for me. I know that, Trucker Nene did a video talking about some stuff about marriage and leaving the truck driver and don't put a bunch of stress on him. She's the one handling all the stress. She's the one holding down the household, and she's doing a good job at it. I never thought I would be able to leave all that stuff in her hands because she calls me a control freak. I just call it handling business. Okay, JB, as far as Success Leasing, still have that plan in mind. I can't order a truck until I've leased for 3 months, and then 3 months is going to be up in like March 12th. So once March 12th comes, I'm going to call them up and ask them what the parameters are, differences between the ACE lease with the $14,000 down or whatever that is, and then just a regular lease like I'm in now, and then kind of make up my mind from there. Like I said, my desire is not to own a truck, but if I can do a lease purchase on it and own a truck and then have something to sell as opposed to just getting whatever the lease buyout or lease incentive bonus or whatever is, then that seems like it makes more financial sense. Well, if you can, Jeremy, man, Jeremy, if you can, man, my email address is nohippiebbq@gmail.com. If you could email me your phone number, something like that, I'd like to talk to you about that. Actually, it's in the description in all my videos except for this one. Basically, nohippiebbq@gmail.com. But listen, you have all these expenses and stuff when you're dealing with leasing and stuff like that, and obviously fuel and the payment is going to be the two major things. But some of these guys are out here taking this shit too damn far. When I'm driving, and I don't know if some of them are trainees or whatever, but when I'm driving 65 or whatever it is, and I'm passing up people that don't even look like they're going 50 on the highway. Top 3 trucker channels, I would say, depends on what it's for. You know what? I'm going to go old school. Alright. I'm going to go old school on one. And one is One Rich. And he's not putting out as many. Let me see if this is these fools. He's not putting out as many videos anymore. This is Lyle. Hello? Alright, anyway. So One Rich would be one. The next one would be KB the Trucker. KB the Trucker went from just getting a CDL to owner operator within 9 months, and he's killing it. So if anybody tells you can't do it, that's a good channel to check out. And then see, I keep it. I'll go 62 sometimes, but I don't see the difference in the fuel economy, and so I don't know. I mean, I get these emails that say what your fleet average is and what you're doing, and I'm always over that. And then last week I was like number 3 in the fleet, or at least my fleet manager's fleet. So I don't know. I just haven't seen when I was driving it, because when I first got this truck, I think that either it was used to whoever's driving it before, or like when it went in the shop, it like the computer like needed to get it. I don't know, but it was getting horrible fuel economy. And now 65, I'm still mid 8s, sometimes high 8s. If I'm fucking around with the mountains in Pennsylvania, then it might get a little worse. Or if I'm wind seemed, yesterday was kind of windy in the Windy City, so wind was kind of messing with it. So I don't know. I'm not a genius. I just know sometimes sometimes even driving 60 is just hard to keep between the lines. Sometimes it feels like, but I do think there's times to drive slower. But man, listen, there ain't nothing wrong with being a company driver. Like I said, my intentions were to go company when I first started, but then 4 days off. I mean, I don't know. I just don't know who sets the standards for time off in the trucking business. To me, it's just ridiculous. And 65, man, like if you're going through Wyoming in summertime, I think you could safely. Well, what am I acting like? It's not safe. You could drive that at 75 miles an hour. There would be no reason to not drive it at 75 miles an hour if you could. Or going I-80, through Ohio, and there's plenty of places where I think that I wish I could go a bit faster. Problem is, then you bump up the speed on these, and then you got people out there driving that way all the time through, no matter what the conditions are. Yeah, Freightliner, those things are automatically going to be getting better fuel economy. Let me take a look at something right quick. Now that we're talking about Freightliner, I'm going to grab a sheet that I wrote down some stuff on. I was going to do a video on things I liked and disliked about this Peterbilt. Man, so I had wrote down some stuff, but also when I first got on my own, I was overthinking things, so I was writing down all this stuff about trips and money and miles and all this different kind of stuff, so we got beyond all that overthinking. I don't cook on this truck. I wouldn't be able to take the smell. Alright, so Freightliner, I like the storage, especially in the doors, and then kind of up in this area up here. Better storage in the Freightliner. The cup holder is definitely better. These cup holders in this Peterbilt just shouldn't belong in a truck. The turning radius, and then the fuel mileage. Peterbilt, the headlights to me seem like they're like 20% better when they're on normal beam, and then 30% higher when they're on high beam. So I definitely I definitely enjoy driving at night a lot more than I did before. You got a nice little leather wrapped steering wheel. The dashboard, all that stuff just is a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. More comfortable seat, man. You could adjust this seat more different ways than you know how. The Jake brake, again, is just more intuitive. You just have to turn that thing on once, and then When you get to the bottom of the hill, it'll shut itself off. So if you're going in Pennsylvania, just turn it on, boom, and then just leave it on. It's a quieter ride too. Now, colder weather, that's one other thing I noticed. There must be more insulation in the door panels or something, because it doesn't get as cold. And it just eats up them potholes. Like, you don't even feel potholes sometimes in this thing. Catwalk area is a little bit bigger. This little vinyl curtain back here, that's nicer. Stereo, not quite loud enough to irritate people like when you were 20 years old playing loud ass music, but it does get up there. Anyway, just a few things I like about that Peterbilt. And then I think I had to mention one other channel is my other favorite trucking channel. And there's a bunch that are kind of in that middle. I don't want to pick anybody obvious from Prime, but I'm trying to think of the channels I was watching that actually gave me the motivation to actually even start even considering it as something to do. I don't know. Let's stick with those two. One Rich and KB the Trucker. Man, sometimes in Utah, though, some of the mountains in Utah, I definitely go under the speed limit on some of those, especially when it gets snow out there. What's up with dealing with Atlanta 500? I don't know if you're calling Atlanta a racetrack. Atlanta, to me, isn't that bad of a city to drive through as much as, like, the cities I don't like driving through. Dallas. Chicago at certain times. See, LA is bad, but it's not that. It seems like they're used to drive, like everybody's driving fast in unison. And in some of these other cities, you have some people driving fast, some people not driving fast, so that makes for the worst. But the states, I don't like driving through Missouri at all. Oh, St. Louis, Kansas City, those two, got to throw those in. I don't like driving through any of that, like southern, like Missouri, like what's that place called? Joplin, Springfield, any of that stuff with all them damn hills and stuff. Especially at night and not great weather. The problem with Atlanta isn't the driving, it's some damn truck stops. Like I said in the previous video, when you go to a truck stop in the South, you got to treat that like a strip club. Go there with a bunch of ones in your pocket, because you are going to be asked for everything you got. And somebody is leaving before me that got here after me. I'm going to need to call these people. You know, driving through Atlanta, I don't usually do that during the day. I've been driving a lot more at night. So it's been a while since I drove through Atlanta during the day. I like to start my clock, if it's possible. I like to start driving at about like 9 o'clock. No, I'd like to start, I mean, perfect world would be starting to drive about 6 o'clock at night. And then getting into the truck stop early so I don't have to worry about parking or anything like that. Man, this is ridiculous. I mean, the good thing is, if I do sit here all night, I'm going to get the detention. The bad part is they're maxing it out at $350. And if they hold me over too much longer, I'm not going to be able to get that load tomorrow. Man, okay, Missouri has deer, but I never saw deer like I was driving through some of these little ass towns, leaving out of just anywhere in the south. I saw a wild pig on the side of the highway in Florida, but I was seeing hundreds of deer on the side of the roads all through Florida, Mississippi, Georgia, Alabama. There was tons of them out there, especially on them little roads. And for some reason, people in the South just like, I mean, I saw like 2 white pit bulls just chilling. You know, they didn't look like they had anybody that cared about them, but they were just chilling out there next to the highway. It was kind of like a highway that went through a town, so I don't know if it was somebody's dog or it was the neighborhood dog or what, but I mean, in reality, okay, so let's see. So in reality, if these people don't get me into a door, if I played everything 100% by the book, I have 2 hours left on my clock. So I could play by the rules, or I can go around the rules. I mean, technically, I've already been to the shipper, so I could personally convey over there and back. It's that middle portion that would be kind of the problem. Man, we almost hit a moose. Let's see. You said you almost hit 2 deer. We almost hit a moose when I was with my trainer in Montana. And that thing had to be windshield height. What's up, Uncle Redneck? That moose had to be like, windshield height. So if we had hit that thing, that probably wouldn't have been that good of a day. This is ridiculous. If anybody's watching this has been with Prime, should I even call up the dispatcher and ask them to see if they can get me in a door or some shit like that? I just feel so helpless just waiting here. No? All right. And then there was a moose that we saw when I was up in Maine one time. And that was one that just wasn't as big as this other one, but there were more of those. I don't know about company drivers and refrigerators, Frank. I know there wasn't one in this one, so I just got like a real nice insulated cooler that half the time I don't put anything in there. See, here's the problem. My eyes are failing me, Sierra. As far as going to talk to shipping, they don't have enough room on their lot for trucks to park. So they're telling us to park in this little strip mall over here. So for me to go back, I would have to walk over there, and it's probably a good 3/4 of a mile to get over there, and it's not the warmest weather. It's like 31 degrees and snowing, so I'm not that motivated to figure out how much longer it's going to be. I don't know about the. Okay, if TNT is so long, why is Prime CSA score so high? Are they still getting inspected? I don't know. I don't know anything about the CSA score. I don't even know what the issue has been with any of the CSA score, so I don't know. I know if I get inspected, they might try to hit me for a hose that I have back here. I haven't been able to get that hose set up in a way where it's not trying to pull on my glad hands yet. It's barely touching my catwalk, and that seems to. I need to find a way to lift it up a little bit, so maybe I'll be a reason why the CSA score goes up higher. I don't know. I mean, I don't know why TNT training is this long. I mean, well, I'll be honest with you. I think some people need longer than 50,000 miles. I think some people would be fine with less miles. I think I would have been able to do it at 15 or 20,000 miles, but I decided to stay on for over 150,000 miles. But there's a lot of reasons why TNT is this long. To be honest with you, if it's not a reason why TNT is so long, why wouldn't you keep as many team trucks out there running as possible? I mean, in reality, team trucks are more valuable than solo trucks. So if you were able to have a more valuable fleet by having, a higher number of teams by keeping people in training longer, wouldn't you? I don't know if that's why they're doing it or not, but it seems like it would make sense to me. Jay, I don't know what the market is or what the market was last year, all this kind of stuff. I just know that if this is the worst that the market's going to get, that I'll be fine as far as, the money that I'm making and stuff like that. In reality, I'm making even more money than I thought I was going to make because I came into this with low expectations. I heard from a DOT officer, he said Prime is rated satisfactory. Yeah, I heard last year freight was doing really well. So my whole thing is, and I did a video on this and somebody said I was stupid, but the best time, well, it's not the best time to get in business, but if you get into business when business is down and you survive that, you've now built a business that's sustainable. If you get into business when business is good and you build your entire business model around that, then failure is going to be a lot easier to happen. Think about all these people that became owner operators or even lease operators, and then the market went bad and they built their finances and all this kind of stuff around a up market. Now they're in trouble. Shit, that coronavirus, I heard that shit's getting bad. You might see me walking around with one of these damn face masks on, driving. All right, man, I'm gonna have to get off this phone. I gotta be proactive about this waiting, especially after putting in, stressing out about getting here on time. Then I'm sitting here, and it's coming up on 6 o'clock now, so that's gonna be 7 hours I'm sitting here. I just can't go out like that. I at least gotta call and see what's up. Because if I lose out on this load that's coming up because of this, you want to hear a rant video, I will put this little raggedy ass shipper out on blast. Alright, it is about almost enough snow to be building a snowman here in just a little bit. another inch, and at this rate, that'll probably be another hour, so I'll be able to go out there and build a snowman. I'll take a picture of it and put it on Instagram. Just joking. Anyway, thanks for stopping by. I'll get better at this live shit. This phone isn't the best way for me to do it. It's hard for me to read stuff, and I'll actually come into this with some actual stuff to kind of talk about, possibly. Anyway, I do appreciate you guys stopping by. Yep, you're right, JB. Yeah. All right, I'm going to get out of here. See what's up. Bye.